Dear participants of the conference, dear colleagues, my name is Zupanec and I'm an associate professor in the field of teaching methods of biology and ecology and Faculty of Sciences at University of Novi Sad in the Republic of Serbia. It is my pleasure to present the most important results of the paper entitled Awareness and Knowledge of Primary School Students on Reproductive Health on behalf of the co-author team of professors and researchers from Faculty of Science, University of Novi Sad. The internationally accepted definition of reproductive health includes the areas of sexual health, reproductive freedom, and access to information, methods, and services of reproductive health and safe motherhood, which includes safe pregnancy and the birth of healthy children. The main factors influencing the increase in sexually transmitted infections and underage pregnancies in transition countries are pure information of young people about it, low awareness of the need to maintain reproductive health, lack of knowledge about safe sexual intercourse, and the spread of prostitution. The sources from which young people get information about reproductive health are different. They are family, school, media, peers. Although many studies related to adolescents' awareness of the topics emphasize the role of parents, they still do not always have an adequate approach to explaining certain problems of on the topic of reproductive health, or do not have adequate education to convey such information to their children. Therefore, the school stands out as another important source of information on reproductive health. The subject of this paper is to examine the information and attitudes of adolescents, 7th and 8th grade elementary school students in the Republic of Serbia on sexuality and reproductive health, and to consider the need for the introduction of this type of education for students of this age. The aim of this paper is to assess the level of information and knowledge of students in the final grades of primary school on reproductive health and sexuality. The research sample includes 207 students. Observing the sample according to the gender of the respondents, the research included 111 girls and 96 boys. The next few slides show the results of the research. They showed that about 60% of respondents did not have a boyfriend or girlfriend. 87% of them did not have sexual intercourse, and 11% did not state whether they had sexual intercourse. Examining the influence of the family on the behavior of adolescents, it was concluded that most students have parental control over their associating. About 74% of respondents' parents personally know with whom their children date or socialize. 21% of respondents' parents have heard about their friends, but do not know them personally. And in as many as 6% of respondents' parents have no information with whom their children associate and or go out. In agreement with the parents, more than half of the respondents determined the duration of the associating, and for as many as 34% of the respondents, the restriction either does not exist at all or sometimes exists. In the absence of parental control, adolescents become prone to deviant or risky behaviors, primarily driven by curiosity, a desire to explore and probe. Examination of adolescents' knowledge and information about reproductive health and sexuality showed that about 2/3 of respondents do not know that a girl who is menstruating can remain pregnant, which indicates the fact that adolescents do not have enough knowledge in the field of reproductive health and sexuality. It is interesting to note that more male students do not know the answer to this question. When asked when is the right time to have sex, about 35% of respondents answered when you feel ready. 31% of respondents stated at age 18 for health reasons. About 15% when you know your partner well, 12% when you are sure in mutual love, and 8% after talking in counseling and learning about possible dangers and consequences. Examining the reasons for having sex came to the conclusion that there are three main reasons for it. These are curiosity, physical attraction, and love for a partner. Other answers have a representation of less than 10%. The results of the survey showed that over 80% of students cited curiosity as the main reason for having sex. This is certainly a big problem because students do not have enough knowledge of biology and similar subjects on reproductive health. The second and only answer of 8th grade students is physical attraction. This means that love for a partner, maintaining a relationship, physical attraction, etc., are not important for them as relevant categories that affect their choice of partner for sexual intercourse. Through the survey, we further found out who is the person with whom young people have the easiest way to talk about their sexual life. The results indicate that students find it easiest to talk about sex life with peers, 40%, parents, 38%, and older siblings, 17%. The surveyed students stated that the easiest way to talk about sexual life is in the first place with a friend, then with parents, and only at the end with an older brother or sister. A very small number of students stated that they had a conversation on that topic with a teacher or a partner. This shows that students need to know more about their sexuality, but they don't want it to be their partner because they lose self-confidence. And for that reason, they turn to their peers or parents. As a method of protection against unwanted pregnancy, the respondents most often mentioned condoms and contraceptive pills. A small number of respondents have not heard of any method of protection against unwanted pregnancy. Based on students' answers to this question, their awareness of contraceptives is present to a large extent, but it is necessary to get to know them in more detail during additional education of students. By examining students' knowledge of facts about sexually transmitted diseases, alarm data on insufficient knowledge of this topic were obtained. Namely, about 90% of students do not know about herpes and syphilis. About 80% do not know about gonorrhea. 96% do not know about chlamydia and hepatitis. Most students have only heard of AIDS. Most of the respondents are informed about the problem of abortion and have the knowledge that it can endanger health and cause permanent sterility. The fact that almost 1/3 of the respondents are not aware of the possible consequences of abortion on health at their age represents a potential danger that may happen to them. And this slide presents the most common topics, dilemmas, and issues from the sphere of sexual life that 7th and 8th grade students would like to discuss during the realization of lectures, forums, workshops, or conferences. Those are when is the right time to have sex, what should be done before the first sexual intercourse, what should be done if an unwanted pregnancy occurs, termination of pregnancy and possible consequences, what diseases are sexually transmitted. The students also stated specific questions that they want answered, while about half of them stated that they are interested in everything in the field of sexual life. This data clearly indicates that young people are aware that they lack basic or key information about sexuality at this age, and that they want to know it. Students' answers to these questions are important for the further implementation and organization of sexuality education. The following conclusions can be drawn from this research. Parents and peers are not trained enough to talk about sexuality with their children in a professional way, so school is perhaps the only real source of professional information on this topic. About 2/3 of respondents stated that they acquired little or no knowledge about sexuality at school. The fact that the main reason for entering into sexual relations is curiosity additionally confirms the importance of introducing a new subject in the basics of school, whose main goal would be a more detailed education of young adolescents about sexuality and reproductive health. For this reason, the authors propose to introduce the subject of health education, which would be taken in all upper grades of primary school, from 5th grade to 8th grade and during secondary school. In this way, students would be continuously educated about reproductive health and other health problems, about all possible consequences of risky sexual behavior, but also the prevention of potential problems of such behavior. Thank you for attention.